So for me, being a Black queen is about the communal experience of uplifting other Black queens. It is about the experience of raising Black princesses to
Yes.
to know,
Yes.
not to wonder, to think,
No.
to maybe have faith. No, to know in their very soul, in their bones, that they are princesses on the way to
Young heroes.
Black queens. Yes.
Hello, everyone, kings and queens. We are so delighted to share our conversation with the amazing Empress Queen Felicia D. Henderson, who was one of the attendees at the beautiful Martha Vineyard's African American Film Festival. You see, every year, King Floyd and Stephanie Rance put on this amazing festival where all the creative minds can come together to show all their projects. And so we had this conversation 1 week before she won Best Short Film for this incredible film called Rebel Girls. That was an amazing film. And I can't wait for everyone to actually view this film and get a chance to feel all of the emotions that go into this short film. We were so excited. But anyway, we're going to go right into the conversation that we had with this amazing, gifted visionary who is not only an accomplished writer, but she's also a producer, and she has made so many incredible shows. And we're going to talk about that in our actual conversation. But I would like to say that Clay D, producer Clay D, and myself were so empowered and enriched by the culture. And it was just nutrition for the soul. And we're going to get right into the conversation right now.
I made her take her little sister with her, and they ain't been seen since.
Oh, Savior, you hear our cry. What made our hope will never die. Joy comes in the morning, and I know we'll make it there. And I know we'll make it there. And I know we'll make it there.
Wait. Ain't this silly game called When I Get Home?
This silly game is why we ain't lost our mind.
Do you really think you're gonna sing for the president one day, Gussie Lee?
Barry Gordy himself's gonna come knocking on my door with a big old fat contract. When I get home, I've got 2 plans. Plan number 1,
The long bubble bath in the beautiful bathroom my father just renovated so I wouldn't tell my mother what I caught him doing with his secretaries.
Time picking in it. I mean you no harm. It's late and it's dangerous out there.
I reckon it's dangerous in that car, too.
They can't do nothing about what happens up here. Some people are already gone from this place. Okay? So it's time our bodies follow.
From everything and everything.
There they are! Don't you move!
But now I'm breaking free.
Wow, OMG, kings and queens. That was riveting, emotional. I can't wait for you guys to check out this film coming up soon. But I am Queen D, and I have producer Clay D with me, and we're going to be rejoining the conversation. And we would hope that you would take the time to like and subscribe. Let's help each other out. It's part of the algorithm. I appreciate it. But I just want to say welcome. We are so honored to have you because we we just love you so much. And we just are honored. This is Queen Court's Conversation. I'm a radio talk show host. But as you know, after pandemic, we all went kind of like video, you know? And so with that, I have been on this journey of just looking for all the Cheryls, the amazing queens in the world, like
Yeah.
yourself, that inspire the world. And so we're just so excited to have you. Thank you so much. First of all, let's talk about her, right?
Absolutely.
You make me so, can I just pause and say how excited you make me to like be sitting here? I was already excited, but you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do this on the island in person, but your publicist said that you were leaving first thing Wednesday morning, and we'll be
Tomorrow, yeah, I leave tomorrow. I've been here for about a week. And I wanted to stay even through Saturday, but I am traveling. My road dog on this one is my 15-year-old niece. So
Okay.
she's got to get back and get ready for school back in LA.
Get it. I get it. Dan, I understand totally. So you enjoying Martha's Vineyard? Did you enjoy? I mean,
Oh, very much so. I've been having a great time. You know, I've come sporadically, you know, for years.
Mhm.
Certainly like when I was super young, like in my 20s,
Awesome.
I partied with friends here every summer, you know,
Awesome.
for a
Okay.
while. Then I went away for a while. Then I started coming back like to relax.
Uh-huh.
And now I have friends who bought an amazing home here.
Cool.
And so, yeah, so there's like sort of permanent room for me. I don't know if they use the word
Excellent.
permanent, but I'm using the word permanent.
Definitely, you have a place to go anytime you want.
Yes, yes. And so I kind of come now after August, actually. I'll come like the first 2 weeks in September when
Uh-huh.
it's super quiet and easy to get around. But then this year, I've written and directed and produced my first film. And so I got into this, to the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. And I'm like, oh gosh, nowhere I'd rather go. Everyone's like, this is such a great festival. It's so much fun. So I was excited to come here, you know, for both reasons.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're just going to start from the beginning. Like, where were you born? As if we didn't know.
As if you didn't know, right? So yes, I am absolutely Southern California girl, born and raised in Pasadena, California.
Mhm.
You know, and even as I say that, you know, my mom's from the South, my dad's from Texas. So very much more on my mom's side, very, you know, much aware of and feel in touch with my Southern roots as well.
Mhm.
Sure, that's why I can cook. You know, I love cooking and
Same
everything
here.
is for cooking.
Hear you.
And so, but that's where I'm from, is Pasadena.
So growing up, what gave you that kind of like nudge or to feel like I want to be a director or a producer or a writer? I mean, there had to be something in you. Was it one of your parents, or when did that all begin in your
No,
your
to be
spirit?
honest, I got my break as a writer, as a, you know, a television writer at
Mhm.
30. So growing up, it is only in retro, I mean, it's really coming to this business. This is my third career. So in some ways, I started late. So everywhere I've ever been and every opportunity within this business, I've always been sort of the oldest person in the room.
I
Even when I
hear you.
was starting,
I can
even as I,
relate.
you know, raced through the ranks, I'm like, you know, I don't care, you know, I'm good. Um, but but in retrospect,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was always a writer. I always loved to write, I should say. I
Mm-hmm.
always did really well in my English classes. I was always in advanced English. I was always read above my grade level. You know, I always loved creative writing, but I never thought of a career, you know, doing it. I always thought I was good at math and science, so I always thought I'm going to probably be a doctor. So I never thought about it, you know, in that way. But my father kept my diaries and journals from when I was 8 and 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was writing even then. And when I looked back at it, everything I was writing wasn't true. Like, you know, I was making it up, but writing it as if it were my life. Like, dear diary, today I flew to the moon. You know, and like, you know, when I got back, my mom was mad because I came home after the porch light came on, you know, like that kind of stuff.
I know that. I know that.
So I was always a writer, but I didn't, it took me obviously quite a while to my late 20s to say, oh, that's what I want to do.
Well, that's interesting that you said that. That part I can relate to because I know my father, after he passed about 5 years ago, I found in his drawer, he had all of my writings. I didn't even know I had
Wow.
written plays and comic strips. And it's amazing how sometimes you're on a journey and then sometimes you might go in a different direction and you're thinking you're going to be one thing. And then all of a sudden it comes full circle. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing, and that's exactly what happens. And I enjoyed what I was doing before, first, pursuing medical school, and then I got into, corporate finance world, and ended up in that for a while, and getting my MBA and working. But sort of God had a plan, and it just looked like that because all of that has been helpful in my career as a writer because it's all stuff, that I know. It's just more stuff I know, which means more stuff to write about.
Absolutely. Are you a spiritual person? Do you feel like God was like direct you in some kind of way?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Because if for no other reason, even though I was raised in a Christian home, a Baptist very strict home, but I think the reason that I'm so sure of God's presence in my life is because I am in awe of the gift of writing. And
Mm.
I'm a writer, like, I'm a writer first, and then, became a director and a producer as a result of my opportunities,
Mhm.
as they were opportunities that came from being a successful writer. And writing I'm so in awe of it myself and fascinated by it. And I know it's a gift
Yeah.
because there's no reason I should be able to come up with this
Yeah,
stuff.
it's definitely a gift.
No, it's a gift. And so for me, I honor the gift by
Mhm.
working really hard, by never half-assing it, by always coming, with my A game because God said, okay, hey, that this is what I give you. So my worship and my meditation
Yeah.
and you will is to do it well.
Wonderful, wonderful. I was just thinking about what were you saying because that's really true. It's writing, I love English. I love literature. I love history.
Mhm.
I get what you're saying, and it's just like it takes you somewhere else when you can use your imagination. And Clay and I was talking about that, about some of the wonderful projects and all the things you've done. So Clay, just go ahead and list them so we can just give our prompts because I'm just so excited.
Right. So, Miss Felicia, thank you for being here again. And glad,
Yes.
glad you're enjoying Martha's Vineyard up to this point. We wish we intended to do some person at Martha's Vineyard, but we're glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Let's talk about some of those wonderful shows that she does because I've seen
yes.
them all, and no lie, cross my
Thank you. I'm so
I've
glad.
seen them all.
Yes. And I will say, Clay, I'm sorry too that I'm not seeing you guys in person and
Uh-huh.
just missing you. I think she said you're coming in late this evening.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I was like, "Oh, I can't believe that I'm missing
Yeah.
you. But
Yeah.
at least I get you here.
Well, we are going to do it again. I hate to use the word maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Absolutely. But we were just going down the list and we was like, oh my gosh, let's talk about
Yeah.
Moesha.
So
Let's talk about that one.
you've been a producer for Moesha, Sister, the Soul Food TV series,
Yeah.
Gossip Girl,
Yeah.
Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Hey, we knew you were already great.
Girl, you're
Obviously.
amazing.
Right. When I researched that, I'm like, oh wow, okay.
And we've seen them all.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've seen them all. We were talking about it. The only one that I've probably maybe seen, maybe the first series, maybe not all of it, I'll be honest with you, is Gossip Girl.
Yeah, that's
But
what I
everything else, I'm like, wow. I'm like, I've seen all the reruns. I've seen them all. And it's amazing your creativity and you probably have taken this from some of your own experiences, would you say, for example, with Moesha, because me having to be a step parent. And I was looking at, and looking at that series about how wonderful the mother was and that whole dynamic with Brandy and everything. Where did that come from?
Well, I mean, I was blessed to be asked to be on that writing staff.
Mhm.
My first writing mentors in the business, Sarah Finney Johnson and Vita Spears,
Mhm.
and Ralph Farquhar co-created that show. and very largely based on Sarah Finney Johnson's experience growing up in Leimert Park. And so it was the first, sitcom on television to focus from the point of view of a 6-year-old Black girl. And so just that opportunity, I was over the moon. First of all, I love them. If they could ask me to come and join them on anything, and I would have. But I had met them on my very first job, which was Family Matters. And they became friends, they became sisters, they became mentors. And then, they went their way to create their shows. And I went, to I think Fresh Prince. And then I was on that show when I got the call from them going, we're doing this show, Moesha, we'd love for you to join us. And I mean, they could barely finish the sentence before I was happy to join them into getting an opportunity to write that, to give an opportunity to be part of history, and that it was the first of its kind on television, and being able to then, go back and access my own 16-year-old mess of a self, and lots of good fodder for lots of episodes.
I hear you. So what, I just heard about what you just said about you, what would you say to your younger self and how it relates to all this wonderful body of work that you have produced? What would
good question.
As we're young, sometimes like we don't even see that path and that journey that God has for us.
I think that I don't know. That's a good question. I think that because I didn't know I was on a completely different path. I really was like, I'm going to be a doctor. So I was on a totally different path. And so, so not so much in terms of one day you're going to become a writer, because my young self would have been like, no, I'm not. But I think that sort of on a personal, from a personal point of view, and all that it means to be a teenage girl, and all the, ups and downs, and trying to figure out who you are, and the insecurities, and just trying to find your space and your place. I think that from that point of view, I would just tell her to, hold on. At some point, who you are is going to be okay, and there won't be a need to make excuses for having a strong personality, a strong point of view, your confidence in yourself, which I was raised to be confident. And, so just hold on, because when you're young and you're that person, you are often too much. Well, you can be an adult woman and be too much. I've experienced that too. But, a lot of that is people try to beat it out of you when you're young. Be nicer, be kinder. You don't have to have an opinion. Why do you have, knowing what you want and who you are and what your boundaries are at a young age is sometimes makes it hard to fit in. So I think the number one thing I would have told my younger self is, it is okay that you do not fit in.
Yes. And, it's interesting that you said that, because most people who don't fit in, I have found, are the most creative, interesting, kind people, and they see through a different lens of how the world works, And
Yes.
and when I looked at Rebel, we were talking about Rebel and how it is talking about the beauty of that show, that beautiful show, that short film was awesome, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
I loved it. And, when I first heard the word rebel, because even as a young girl, I thought, I didn't really feel like I fit in. I thought, well, maybe I'm the black sheep, maybe I'm the rebel. And so when I saw that, and I saw how you put that together, how each girl was thinking and manifesting their life, and I love how when they were running in the colors, it just all came together, and I was like, wow, So that was a beautiful film, just beautiful.
Thank you. So yes, so the Rebel Girls. When I thought about them, and when something is based on, or inspired by, I should say, when something is inspired by a true story, me anyway, there's just so much responsibility, welcome responsibility to honor it and get it right, and to take words, that others might see as negative and make them powerful. And so for me, the Rebel Girls was like, I want contemporary girls. I want my nieces and goddaughters and the teen girls that I mentor to embrace being a rebel girl, to embrace that you have to be in order to get where you want to go to, it really just means you're bucking against what people would tell you you have to be, and fighting for what you believe is right and true, rather that be from a socio-political point of view or for what you want and how you're treated in life. Simple, basic to big worldview things. And so that's pretty much how that title came to me. And also because I wanted it to make sure that from the title that I was saying these girls are not victims.
No.
This will not be a story of victim. I'm sorry, let me say that a different way. While the girls may have been victims of racism in the Jim Crow South, they are not, this is not a story of victimhood. This is a story of power. This is a story of brilliance. It's a story of there's nothing, in my humble opinion, more powerful and brilliant than a young Black girl who turns into an amazing Black woman. And I wanted to celebrate that. So for me, the film is very much about this joyous celebration of no matter what you do to us, we will always stand.
That's right. And that's what I loved about it, was that kind of that women empowerment. And I felt it, like young sheroes on the rise, and how strong they were and how they worked together, which is so important. And so Clay he had talked about the comparison.
Yeah, Miss Felicia, I wanted to ask you. Obviously, it was a great story, just as far as the depiction of the segregated South, especially Georgia back in the '60s. Do you feel as well that this story could be portrayed in a modern day climate of today, given everything going on in the political atmosphere, the social atmosphere that we're in? Do you see that this story could also be easily portrayed today as it was when it was set back in the '60s?
Yeah, and yes, Clay, and that speaks to what I was saying in terms of like the contemporary way that I see the story, and that the story is for my nieces, my goddaughters, my mentees. I work with a group in Los Angeles called Sheroes Rise that is a leadership academy for Black and brown girls. And so for me, it's why it was important to me that it didn't look like a period piece. I wanted to all of us, particularly girls, but all of us viewers, to be able to access the story from a very contemporary place, so that we know, oh my goodness, if those girls could do that, given what they were up against, I can do anything too. It really is a story for all of us to say, I can do anything. And so from that point of view, it's very contemporary. The idea of whatever you want to do, no matter where you are. Sometimes that's physically, right? Which is one of the themes of the film, that no matter where you are physically, meaning no matter who you are around. And in those girls' case, they were actually imprisoned. But no matter where you are, only you get to control your brain. No one, no matter what people are saying to you, no matter what, I'd say to the young girls that I mentor, yes, you have to listen politely to parents, but if they, some parents are abusive, some parents are negative, some parents aren't helping you grow, some adults in general. So you can listen politely, but that doesn't mean you have to hear. The only person who really, that's the biggest lesson I'm trying to teach girls and any viewers of this film, is that only you, because you control here, Only you get to control where you're going. And for me, that's a very contemporary idea.
Absolutely. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about what you were saying when you said that when you were younger that you thought you was going to be a doctor. But it's amazing how you have taken the skill of becoming a doctor and manifesting and still talking about healing. So it's
Mhm.
like it works together anyway, because this, working with young minds is also very healing. Me having the background of being a special needs teacher way back when. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I used to always say is not what they can't do, is what they can do. And that's what you work from, you scaffold and
Yes.
build their courage and their self-esteem and all those things that they're going to need going forward.
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yes.
I love that. So have
Yes.
you experienced racism?
So
Um,
can you say one more
have
time?
you ever experienced racism, not only as an African American woman, but also just being Black? I mean, because there's so many things that go on, in the workplace and different things. Have you kind of like felt it or experienced it?
I don't know if any Black person has not.
Felt,
No.
right?
I don't know if that is it possible even in a world that is very we live in a country, we're born in a country, or at least I'm born here, I'm
Yes,
assuming
yes.
born here, is built on systemic racism. Everything about it is built on systemic racism or systemic um, belief in white superiority and everything about it.
Mhm.
So the very history of it, when first Europeans came here, it's always been that way. It's take from the indigenous people, you
Mhm.
know using Africans, enslaved Africans to build their wealth.
Mhm.
So it's a history of it, and then to perpetuate that, changing the rules and the laws for now over 300-400 years to always sustain that. It's why they are working so hard now to take away our right to vote, to eliminate our history through banning books,
Hmm.
to jump behind Donald Trump, who most of them have to know is insane, but it is a way to still hold on to their white superiority, even if the person leading them on that journey is a psychopath. So, so in that way, yes, of course I have. When I was in graduate school in Georgia, it was the first and only time I actually heard somebody, truck go by and yell out the window, nigger to me. I was like, I never had heard that in LA. I'm not saying I never experienced racism in LA,
Never
but
heard.
I'd never heard somebody, I was like, oh, this is going to be the difference in living in South. If they are racist, they don't pretend they aren't. And I kind of said, I prefer it, I to know what you're thinking. So yes, I give it a lot of attention and time? I don't, because it doesn't serve my goal of all the things I want to accomplish for myself, all the things I'm, trying to be a good sort of steward of the time, and being a mentor, being a role model, all of that. Like it doesn't serve me. I have to convince girls through my words and my deeds that nothing can hold you back. So
Mm.
I can't say, well, nothing except racism. I have to just say nothing so that they know when those things are, those slings and arrows are thrown at them, that they're like, oh, that's just another one of those things, because it still is true that racism isn't, it's not our problem to solve. We're not the ones with the problem. So I don't give it a lot of attention. I work, you know, smartly around it. Sometimes I call it out.
Yeah.
I've never been one really good at holding my tongue. So sometimes I call it out, sometimes with humor.
Yeah.
Sometimes everyone who does a thing that is a microaggression, or, that might be racist, isn't necessarily an evil person. Sometimes it is lack of knowledge. And
Knowledge.
so sometimes there's an opportunity to teach. Sometimes it's an opportunity to, further explore our differences in a way that is respectful.
Mhm.
So and those when those opportunities come to me, I try to take those opportunities too.
That's wonderful. And I was thinking about when you were saying about mentoring young girls, because I was just talking to Clay about young girls and depression and different issues that come up with from body image, from
Mhm.
colorism. Surprisingly, we're still talking about that. How do you, when you're talking to the girls, are these some of the topics that come up with some of the things that they're dealing with, as far as body image? Because,
Oh
this,
my God, yes. It's I don't know how that one ever goes away. I mean, I think that progress has been made because we're seeing, more women out front of all sizes and shapes. And I think that that's so positive um being sort of free to love and accept out loud whatever your body type is. I think we are going in the right direction. Um, I find that girls and women in general, though, still, no matter what size or whatever we are, we're just so hard on ourselves. And so, that is the thing that more self-acceptance. I think I also tried, like you said, colorism is still absolutely going on. I try to approach it, and address it, or, be in conversation about it and with it through my art. That's what the casting of the Rebel Girls
yes,
was, is that I have someone super
yes,
fair skin
yes,
with super, super dark skin,
and yes,
because I was trying to celebrate us in all our hues.
absolutely.
What that means from a technical point of view is, oh, you are in hell. It means because it is very difficult from a lighting point of view to shoot someone to make sure they both look good,
Yes,
someone who's very fair and someone who's very dark.
yes, yes,
It is technically not easy. And
yes,
so a lot of times you'll see when that's true that they won't shoot them in the same shot, or you will not be able to see the darker skinned person, or the fair skinned person will be so blown out that they don't have any color. So it was important to me to have a Black cinematographer who I could have a shorthand with, who, if I said,
Nice.
she's super light skinned, he knew what that meant.
yes,
And, or if I said, she's super high yellow, however I said it, I didn't have to have a separate conversation like now. When I say fair skin, when I say she's light skin, we didn't have to have that. You know, and I can, and that was the goal starting out casting. I said to Leah Daniels Butler, who is the genius. Nobody finds young talent like Leah does. Well, this is our fourth time working together. And I was like, Leah, I want her to be damn near white all the way to blue black. And I
yes,
could say that to my Black casting director,
yes,
to say, I want to see every girl. And so for me, it was using my art to
yes,
say, we are beautiful in all the ways that we come, and making sure that the darkest skinned cast members got the big extreme close-ups, because we never get these close-ups,
yes.
and so it was very conscious that I made sure that I want those girls to have the extreme close-ups, because that beauty isn't celebrated enough.
Absolutely. And that was a wonderful cast, a beautiful cast of young girls. I was looking at the
Thank you.
expressions and how they acted.
So talented, right?
Oh, talented. And I love the dark skinned girl, the really tough girl that was imagining herself boxing. She says, I'm coming back.
Yes, Bertha.
That part.
Yes, that's Kiana Simone. We call her Kiki.
Yes.
And Kiana, she's got a movie that is just dropping on Hulu, in fact, that she's
Awesome.
in. Yeah, she's so talented, and she's gonna be a big star, because that kid right there, they're all kids to me. She's an adult woman, but she's kid to me. She's just so brilliant, and I just so look forward to her star just blowing up.
Yes. And I love when the girl was talking, the young, beautiful actress, I don't remember her name, she was talking to her cousin, and she says, look, we're gonna go. And I love how she was building her confidence and making her trust and say, listen, look, we got this.
Yes.
Yeah, she was building that confidence. And that's what sisterhood is all about.
Yes. I mean, I posted just on IG this morning. I was like, I just want to get this out really quickly because I went to bed with it on my mind that, yesterday was the floor exercise gymnastics final. So I just had to post that photo of Simone Biles and Jordan Childs
Yes.
bowing down.
Now down to it. Yes, I saw
Yeah,
that.
bowing down because I'm like, we can celebrate. So
Yes.
seeing those two Black girls bow down for another Black girl, I'm
Yes.
just like, we can celebrate our brilliance and excellence. It doesn't make me less brilliant and excellent to celebrate yours. And with one photo, with one visual, they said all of that.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
just like, it just made me so happy that I'm like, you know what I have to do today? I have to just at least post this photo because I wanted to start my morning by posting that photo because I went to bed with that joy of seeing them, bow down in that way. I was like, if I don't do anything else today, I'm posting that photo because it just said so much to me and it spoke to me that there needs to be more of that where just I can say you are amazing and genius and brilliant and gifted without taking anything away from myself. And the more we think of that kind of sisterhood, the more we think it's why I'm so excited. I'm part of the organization Win with Black Women. And I've been part of it since the beginning 4 years ago. And now, of course, we immediately grew exponentially, as a result of Vice President Kamala Harris is now, she's going to be the Democratic presidential nominee. So it was like, I love the idea that we can win with each other. We should be winning with each other. We should be lifting each other up. It's okay. It does. I'm not less than, but again, that goes back to self-confidence and believing in ourselves and being okay with who we are, then we're more likely to be okay with you being great.
Absolutely. As much as we are different, we are so much alike. Absolutely. And that's what I loved about Sister, because I think that, I don't know about you, but sometimes we internally, subconsciously don't even realize it, that when we walk in the room with our own sisters, sometimes we feel like, am I being judged? Are they going to like me? It's a subconscious thing because we are so hard on each other. I really think that came from something else because I don't think it could have came from something way back in slavery. I don't know where it came from, but I think that we are way too hard on each other. So I love what you were saying about what you posted about Simone when she bowed down, because it shows the youth of today, like the girls that you're mentoring, that it's okay.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
we should celebrate our differences and still love each other. We're all.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Do you have any questions, Dave?
Oh, yes, I would just like to ask Miss Felicia, this is obviously a great project, but what are your next goals, whether it's filmmaking or any other project? What do you have in mind in the coming years? I'll probably would say the next year or two or so.
I know. So much in my head, Clay. So much. My first and foremost, my goal is to see the Rebel Girls to fruition. I was all prepared, ready to go out and, pitch it. I've had this project and I've been working on it. The research of it alone was a couple of years. And then, because I was also doing it while running a TV show. So I took trips to Americus, Georgia to do the research, to meet the women that are still surviving, who are still with us. So it's taken a while. And then when I was ready to even go, you know what? I just know so much what I want it to be. Maybe I'll just write it on spec, meaning without being paid, because I just wanted to get my vision on the page. But then the writer's strike came, and then the actor's strike came. And those two things. And so there was no work, everything pencils down, blah, blah, blah. And I thought this is a great opportunity to, do a short film, to direct a short film, to get, as proof of concept.
Yes.
So yes, it will work as the short film, but I won't have to just tell people what I see. I can show them. As my mama used to say right before she was getting the belt, I can show you better than I can tell
Yes.
you. so, so I now have this thing, but my goal is obviously a larger project.
Yes.
I'd love to do a film and a television series. I'd love to do a film and then like an 8-part, television series, because I'd love to go into each character's life deeper. So that's my first and foremost, my goal. I just turned in a feature film, a comedy that I just wrote. And I hadn't written like just a true broad comedy in years. So for me, it's like a muscle. I'm like, am I still funny? Am I going to be able to pull it off? And I ended up having so much fun. The producers are very happy with the script, and that's called Grow Up. And so that I think that will go into production within the next year. So I just finished that. I have a couple of television projects as well. I think I have like 3 that I'll be developing, and one is an adaptation of a comic book. Another is an adaptation of an old television series, and another one is a sci-fi thing. So it's like you said earlier, I do a little bit of everything. I'm so blessed in that way that I can pretty much write in any genre, and I enjoy it because I love trying new things. If I haven't done it yet, that's the surest way to get me, is to present me with something that I haven't yet written, because I love the challenge of writing something new. So I have things in 3 different genres. I'm also going to be executive producing through my company, Waterwalk Entertainment. I'm going to be executive producing another comedy. So not that I'm not writing, but I'm just producing through my company. That's coming up. So the way God seems to be working it out, I'm going to be really busy these next couple of years.
Busy.
And I look forward to it. I love being busy. And I'm also a professor. I'm associate professor at Northwestern University.
Awesome.
So I'll also be in there teaching. In fact, I go back for the fall quarter next month in September.
Wonderful. Do you have any children?
I don't have children. No, I don't have children of my own. I have nieces and nephews.
Okay. And I'm sure you.
I have nieces and nephews that I have co-parented all of their lives. So, and it is the joy of my life. I always say, people ask, like, what's your favorite word? Sometimes people will ask you, and I say auntie. Because it is my favorite thing that I am. And they bring me so much joy. They keep me laughing even when they don't mean to. I'm one of 8, so I have them from little ones all the way to adult ones with children of their own. I'm a great auntie even. And so it's just the biggest joy of my life.
But we wanted to share some the fire questions.
Rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire questions. He loves rapid fire questions. Go ahead.
Bring it.
So what was it like when you first met Will Smith? Assuming that you did, obviously working on the right staff.
Yeah.
Oh, it was nice. He was nice. It was fun. I mean, this was like pre-movie star Will Smith, but he was a joy to work with. He was a professional. He always came, he knew his lines. He was a good collaborator with the rest of his cast. They were all very close. So for that point of view, it was nice to see. I love when cast, happy and like each other. And even when, as a showrunner, sometimes that means they don't like you in that moment, but you're still better off if they love each other, So, but that's what I remember about working, is that they were a really tight-knit group of professionals who gave everything to the work.
Wow, that's amazing for
Next
sure.
question.
What was when you worked on Soul Food? Did you realize at the time that it was going to be a cultural phenomenon that has come to become over time and such, or
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me about soul food because,
Yes.
if you ask me
Absolutely.
like about the proudest moment of my career, it is soul food. I did not, yes and no, because we knew something special was happening. I knew I'm a person, and I remember saying to the cast, like, these are the good old days. Like we're in it right now. Like this opportunity that we have. I knew in the moment to be grateful. I don't have to look back and go, man, I was so, I knew then, like, this is amazing, if you know what I mean. And so I knew that we were doing something that hadn't been done when we were just renewed for a second season, because there have been other Black dramas, but they hadn't been successful. They were, I think one had gone 2 seasons, but they mostly were canceled after 1 season.
Right.
So to be ordered like for 2 more seasons and then ordered 2 more seasons, and to really the feedback from the audience, from fans, or being sometimes on panels or just out and someone recognizing me, seeing people just stop and some have to cry, say, thank you for showing us making love. Someone go, I'd never seen Black people make love on television, or I'd never seen sisters, behave like me and my sisters, and like me and my sisters, where we can fight like cats and dogs, but don't come to one of us. You will not come out. It will not go well for you. Do not come to one of us. So it is just like that. And to see 20 years later that, like you said, Clay, is this cultural phenomenon. And when someone says to me, you do realize that without soul food, there'd be no other successful Black dramas. Like they all sit on the shoulders of this thing I created. And that gets overwhelming. You're like,
Yes.
oh, so no, I didn't know that it would be this thing that would start a movement, if you will. But it's the thing I'm proudest of in terms of what we did and showing us in all of our, frailties and three-dimensionally and not perfect. And, I'm still very, very proud of it. I'm
Great.
very, very proud of it. And it was lightning in a bottle, but and I've never had this again. I had Black executives at our studio. There was a Black executive at our network, or our cable channel. So I was in, partnership with Black executives. So I never had to really explain the stories I was trying to tell. They just got it. And, and then they had bosses who said, who were, white men in both cases, presidents that were white men on both those places, who like, you know what you're doing. So we just get out of your way to do it. That's why it's so good.
Yeah.
There weren't people going, no, it should be this, it should be that. They're like, we trust that you know what this experience should be. So if you get me talking about soul food, Clay, we'll be here another 3 hours.
as long as you have the time.
And I don't know if you realize it, but every family on Sunday, we all talk about, let's do like soul food.
Yeah.
Let's start a tradition.
Yes.
Soul food.
My family still,
Now, here's a funny disclosure here. I've never really been able to watch soul food, and I still don't think I'm allowed to watch it because my mother wouldn't allow me to watch soul food because of the content. So now I'm like,
ask her. You better ask.
I'm not allowed to watch it. I don't even know. I know about it, but I mean, I know certain instances of reference. I kind of stuck about some, but I still haven't really ever
yes.
gotten into it. So,
well, you can absolutely find it on Amazon for sure. And you can order the DVDs. Yeah, you can find, they're also really bad quality, but you can find episodes on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
What the CDs? I mean,
Yeah, there's DVD sets of the whole thing, but in the interest of free stuff, you can also find it.
I've seen a lot more of it. I decided I just
and
want to
you
add
ran
that
into the actor too.
What was it like? And correct me if I'm wrong, but Darren Henderson, Darren, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Of course, Darren Henderson.
Yes. Let's see. We ran him at Essence Fest. I'm like, hey, that's the guy from Soul Food. Like, but yeah, what was he like to work with?
Darren and I are still very close, and uh, he was a joy because he was getting this wonderful opportunity that was part of his, transitioning from being a choreographer, a dancer and a choreographer to committing to transitioning to acting. And so he was very serious. He was, he worked very hard.
Yeah.
And was also just a joy and has one of my favorite laughs of anybody in the world because it's just a big happy laugh. And he's still that way. And just also always has been very wise for his age. So I've always appreciated him as also like a young person with a lot of wisdom as well.
Yeah, we knew who he was. Obviously, I did, but the folks on the Essence Fest floor, they kept on mistaking him for Tank or
That's hilarious.
Miss Felicia. When you worked on Family Matters, and again, correct me if I'm wrong with any crossover with dates and such, but when you were working on the staff for Family Matters, did you know that it was gonna officially or unofficially become the Urkel show, or like because I always called it Urkel, and I'm sure like I was
A lot of people call it the Urkel show, but
yeah.
I didn't come to that show until like its
Oh, okay.
7th season. It was very much the Urkel show when I got there. I think it was on air, and I might be wrong, for 9 seasons, I think.
Yeah, 89.
I came to it in its 7th season.
Wow.
So it was very much the Urkel show by the time I got there, and there was lots of episodes, for me to watch and get caught up and know everything that ever happened. So I watched them in a short period of time so I could get caught up. So by the time I joined and was sitting at that conference table in the writer's room, I was like, let's go. I know everything Urkel years, so I wasn't but it is, it holds a special place in my heart. I'm still friends with Jaleel White, but it's also, that job, my first house I ever bought was the house that Urkel built. And so it shows very, and it's also where I met Sarah Finney Johnson and Vita Spears because they were already there and producers. And so to walk into this space and, be like, this is my big writing break, and to see 2 Black women who were like, come on in, and just took me under their wing and tried their best to mold a hard-headed young Felicia who thought she knew everything, and they assured me that I did not. With all love and kindness. But yeah, so it was already very much this, cultural phenomenon its own, and certainly Jaleel White and his brilliance in really creating that character.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right. Absolutely. It's definitely a classic for sure. I met Miss Jamari Payton once at ABFF back in 2016. Very nice lady. I would ask, you worked on the last season of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you did you have a hand in, obviously, in what capacity, that final episode where he's standing in the living room all by itself? Or
Right.
what was that? If you
I did not have a hand in it. Remember, it's so early in my career. I was very much a baby writer. And you'd have very little say in what the stories, and certainly how is an iconic series going to end, So no, and in fact, I was not even there for it because Sarah and Vita had called and said, we're doing Moesha. So before the season was over, I had gone to join the beginning of Moesha. Yeah, so I wasn't even there for that finale. I went back, of course, for the rap party, but I wasn't there when they shot the finale, and it was really, but I've seen it obviously, and it was a powerful episode.
The last one about Whitney Houston.
And there was I read that you had worked with the late great Whitney Houston. Is that correct? And what particular project or capacity was that?
Is that something?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I was frowning and trying to think of, because sometimes people think something and I can usually, and if it's wrong, I can usually connect how they got there. But that one, I'm not quite sure how you got there. I never did. And sometimes too, I'm like, wait, did I? Because I've been doing it a while, but no, I never did. I never did. I was obviously a big fan, and, so saddened by especially the way that she passed, and, all of the demons that sometimes don't leave us. But no, I never did. I think, for me, obviously, the first part of my career was I started in sitcoms, and certainly when I started, that was where most Black television writers were. We started, that's where you could get in. There were no Black dramas, and even on non-Black dramas, there weren't any Black writers. So I started in sitcoms, and then with Soul Food, I transitioned to writing dramas. But even that opportunity came as a result of me saying, I don't want to write sitcoms anymore. And I've always believed in you have to make the future you want. So I'm like, it's time to reinvent myself, which is why I went back to school, UCLA, Bruin for life, and got my MFA in screenwriting and directing, studied directing. And then as a result of winning the UCLA screenwriting contest, I was asked, do I want to meet for this? They're going to adapt Soul Food. So it really helped me just to make that transition. And then once I was in drama, trying to figure out like, well, what kind of drama do I like to write? Certainly after Soul Food, I'm like, I obviously can write family drama and love it, but what else? Because I'm really a science geek, in my heart. That's still who I am from a kid. So shows like, Fringe, which was a wonderful sci-fi experience in the introduction of that, and shows like Gossip Girl.
I was going to ask you about that.
We were going to ask about that next. How did you?
I that show for me, I really said yes to that job because the creators were so committed to depicting the world of the very, very wealthy teen on life on the Upper East Side of New York. And that was not an experience anywhere near my wheelhouse. Like I'm from LA. I'm very much, that West Coast girl.
Yes.
I grew up in a working poor family. I was a scholarship kid. So I'm like, I'm so interested in pursuing this show in terms of learning about what this is. And they really were committed to like trying to be real. So it was like, what, they get to do what? Like these teen kids go sit at bars after school, and we're not making that up. They really do. And the bars on the Upper East Side, wherever, used to seeing them because they're, so it was interesting, but really at its core, it was about a friendship between two very different girls. And I love relationship drama. So everything, even working on The Punisher, which is, a big, bad, testosterone driven. At its core, it's still about a man seeking vengeance about the loss of his family. So it's still character driven, and people would say like, what interested you about, this show, comic book adaptation with all, guns and fights and explosions. And I'm like, that stuff's all cool to me. I love action films. But really, I related to him, and people were like, what? I'm like, no, obviously I was never a Marine, an ex-Marine and all, but I entered that from a creative point of view, from the point of view of like, if someone gunned down my entire family in front of my face, would not rest until they were all dead. So I feel vengeance would be mine.
You can understand.
So for me, I could enter that show, from that. So everything I've worked on, I always have an entry point where I can relate to that thing, and so getting a chance to even run the show First Kill, which is the last show I ran on for Netflix. This whole, like I would say, the last 10 years in particular of my career have been about things that speak to me. You have the part when you're starting out in your career where it is about, I need a paycheck.
Yes.
I need to establish myself in this business as a writer. Then, now I'm a producer and I need to establish myself. And then you sort of transition for me to now I want to do things that speak to me. And, like First Kill, it spoke to me because at the center of it was about these two 16-year-old girls in love. And I thought, I have a goddaughter who tried to take her life at 16 rather than say to her family, I think I'm a lesbian. So I knew, just like Black people need to see ourselves, young lesbian girls need to see themselves to know we see you. We know you exist. Do not think about taking your life.
Yes.
You are worth too much.
Yeah.
And so for me, so that made that, even though it was like, yes, it was about a family of vampires versus a family of vampire killers, vampire hunters. But for me, it was about making sure this part of the population saw itself on television so that they, because we know how the power of media,
Yes.
the need for us all to see ourselves in media.
And one particular credit I saw, the quad. What was that like? And I think
That was one of my
I
favorites.
feel as though that didn't get enough
I don't think it did.
airtime. It was on from
Say
2016.
it for the folks in the balcony. I mean,
It would be perfect for right now.
Come
I
on,
mean,
yeah.
just like I told you, soul
That's right.
food is like the thing I'm most proud of. The thing in my career that has most frustrated me is the lack of support for the quad on BET, because it was groundbreaking.
It was.
It was maybe a little ahead of its time. Had we had a Kamala Harris
Yeah.
from HBCU in office, then, you know, we could have gotten more love for such a show.
Definitely.
And so it was a joyful experience, you know, internally with the writers and the cast and we created a whole world. We created a university. I had to do everything from like, oh my God, what would the university's colors be? What would the mascot be? Because we weren't using an existing real HBCU.
That was very creative.
Yeah.
It was so much fun internally, but the battles, you know, every day were with the network. Give us more support, give us more marketing, get behind the show. You know, it was very frustrating from that, or we might call it an executive, you know, as the manager, if you will, of the show. It was, and I co-created it with Charles Holland, who is a frequent co-collaborator and a dear friend. But it was like, as the showrunner, it was very frustrating to go, this thing is magic. And, you know, it's not getting the love. So it was frustrating, but doing the work was very joyful. I love that cast. And Peyton Smith, who, you know, was one of our leads, like, that's like my nephew. I love that kid. We stay in touch. You know, if I see him doing something in the press that I don't like, he gets a quick text. What are you doing, nephew? You know, it's that kind of relationship. And so, you know, I'm happy to see the idea of it revisited through the All-American spinoff on the CW, you know, that is so well done by Ketche. She is like a genius showrunner, creator. And so, but very, very frustrating. Thank you for bringing up the quad. Yeah, I'm very proud of that show.
Sure,
That was
for sure. We
beautifully
saw
written.
All Americans panel over at ABFF, and it was, I certainly thought about the quad
Yeah, we did.
in
We
that
could
moment.
see
Yes.
how
Yeah.
they should went to.
For sure.
And maybe they can do a reboot of the quad. It would definitely work well on just repeats. Yeah, you
Well,
know.
not just right. I think the streaming platforms
Rerun.
now. Well, not necessarily. I think with the streaming platforms now, maybe BET Plus, there's more room or space for it, but I'm not in charge of anything. So hey,
That's the expression. Let me ask you a question. We're talking about the quad and Kamala Harris and what we are experiencing right now, what's going on with politics. What do you feel as far as Kamala winning this? I mean, I see the people have coming out in groves, and I said to Mom, because my mother, she's kind of old fashioned. She's like, well, I don't know about a woman president.
Really?
She's so old fashioned. And we got into it and I was like, Mom, she goes, how can you vote for her? I said, because it's all about power.
Well, who are you going to vote for if you don't vote for her? That's my question.
Yes.
Well, like I said earlier, you know, I'm part of Win with Black Women.
Yes.
And 4 years ago, when Joteka Eddie
yep, I know.
started, the founder, it was the biggest reason that it was started is because of how when Kamala Harris announced her, you know, run for the presidency, the misogynistic way we saw the media treat her, the racist way that we saw the media treat her. And so as Black women, we all came together to say, we will be here to not only stand in the gap, but to fight back, to immediately counter all the negative and lies, quite frankly. And so it's grown into something else where, we also support, now women up and down the ballot. And, we're worked with the White House and the WNBA to like bring Brittany Griner home. We also support like now entertainment, Black women doing, in entertainment, we support things like, when the negativity about having a Black lead for, oh my God, just the mermaid.
Yes.
Well,
I just forgot the name of it. How that's so horrible.
You talking about the movie or
Yes, the Disney movie.
Yes.
When it was remade and Ariel was the character. Yeah, to like having a Black Ariel, then we like fine, we will buy out theaters. Like, so we have become politically active in all, because political action can be in every industry. And so we just decided like we will show them that it's going to be $100 million film, and we did. And so those kinds of things. And now, and I'll be very honest, one, I'm a loyal person, probably to a fault. So I was disgusted by how Joe Biden was treated, even though I was also disgusted by Joe Biden's, in my opinion, lack of leadership in the, Israel, Palestine war. Not to say that Hamas is not monsters and has done a horrible and despicable thing in what they've done to the Israeli people, but Israel's also committing genocide. So while I was not happy with him as a president, to see the way people turned, and I was like, it was horrible. But I also know he did the right thing by stepping down.
Yes.
You can see it. We just saw that yesterday. Melinda Gates has given $53 million to Vice President Harris's campaign. So I'm all in, is my point. I'm working hard. I'm going to work my fingers to the bone, because the alternative, if the White House turned orange, I got to move to Toronto.
We don't want the handmaid's tale.
Another 4 years under Donald Trump. I will not.
No way.
I will not. So, so how do I feel? I feel like I'm so excited. I'm also part of the Black Showrunners Collective. So we have also come out and endorsed her. And on a personal level, I'm really also focused on down ballots. I'm giving to all of my, local and state Democrats, because it's so important at that level.
You have to get the local.
We have to find a way on a congressional level as well. So I'm all in, because the alternative, not only because of the alternative, because she is supremely qualified.
Yes,
the most qualified since Hillary Clinton, who we should have elected, and we would not have been this guy, this monster, this I want to be a dictator, idiot, would never have been president, and we wouldn't be here right now. So that is a very long-winded answer to say I am all
we appreciate it.
Good.
We appreciate it.
And look forward to the day that she is our president.
I look forward to it too, because like you said, we don't want to go backwards. We're all about going forward right now.
Yes, ma'am.
And my last question is, what is your definition of a queen?
Of a queen, that's a good one.
Because you are one. Yeah, see? I love it. I love it.
And what I love about being a Black queen is that to be a Black queen is to celebrate other Black queens.
Yes.
It is to celebrate my sisters in all they do. It is to, if I have information that's going to help you rise, I am sharing that information. I'm not holding on to it. It is to mean if I see you fall, I am picking you up. If I see you ascending, you get a note from me saying, go. If I see that around you that forces are gathering to try to take you down, to be a queen is to tap you and say, watch this, look out for that. So for me, being a Black queen is about the communal experience of uplifting other Black queens. It is about the experience of raising Black princesses to know, not to wonder, to think, to maybe have faith, no, to know in their very soul, in their bones, that they are princesses on the way to be
heroes.
Black queens. Yes.
Absolutely. And on that note, because we were going to say, let's drop some gems, but you just dropped so many gems.
Gem dropping.
Gem dropping. We thank you so much. We're just like blessed. Blessed to talk to you. You are an inspiration to the world, not just for women, but just for everyone. You are.
Thank you. Yeah. I really enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing it in person the next time. Maybe we'll be talking about, because a couple of things I so wanted to tell you, but I had to be general right now.
I know.
You'll go. She said that. She just didn't say that. So there will be some announcements. I'll make sure that you guys are among the first to know more details about some of the stuff that I just said kind of generally, because deals are not closed. And so that we can share. And then, of course, when the Rebel Girls, when I have news like the Rebel Girls, it's going to be a film. We now have the interest of financing because it is coming. I'll make sure that you guys know.
Thank you so much. Cool. God bless you so much. Thank you.
And you're local, you're local to LA, correct?
Yes, I'm LA and Chicago because I teach at Northwestern. So I spend, I have places in both places.
Well, let me ask you this. Will you be in Chicago in 2 weeks?
I will be no, because that's still August, isn't it? Yeah. I will be in LA. Once I leave here, I go back to LA, and I'm in LA. I have Holly Shorts, the Holly Shorts Film Festival in LA. That's why also I have to get Gracie, my niece, home to go to school, and I have to get back for the Holly Shorts Festival. So I'll be in LA all of the rest of August, and then I don't go to Chicago to the middle of September, but then I'm there through off and on. I can get to anywhere that I need to be, but I'll be there teaching until March. So I'll be there back and forth to LA, but for sure mostly in Chicago through March.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, well, you heard it right here. Queen, amazing Empress.
Oh, I like it.
Henderson, everyone. You gotta go see this movie. I mean, you gotta see it. It's just awesome. And we just appreciate all your body of work. And we are just simply blessed. And you have shared with the world. Queen Court's Conversations, all about inspiration, women empowerment, elevation, and empowerment. Yes.
I love it. Empowerment and elevation. Let's go.
Let's go.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you.